Hello and welcome everyone on this official platform of Legacy IAS Academy. So today in this session we are going to discuss one of the most important threat that is rising in the northeastern region of India. जी हाँ, 20 kilometers, that's all which separates India's lifeline to the northeast from a shadow rising in Bangladesh. So as you can see here, China inspects Bangladesh proposed airbase site near India's Chicken Neck. So it is a shadow which is shaped by concrete radar towers and whispers in Mandarin. And also it is this airbase which I am going to talk about here in Bangladesh region, that is a mysterious Second World War airfield, that is Lalmonirhat. जी हाँ, Lalmonirhat in Bangladesh, a long forgotten in the pages of history, is now being reborn, as you can see here. But it is not just a routine airbase. It could become a strategic game changer in the South Asia. So behind the blueprints and bulldozers lines of a story that talks about the Chinese deepening footprints in South Asia region. So Bangladesh bold ambitions and India's rapidly growing anxiety. Why is China inspecting this military base which is so close to the India's most vulnerable section, that is Siliguri Corridor, which is also called as Chicken Neck? Now, what does this mean for India's national security? Could it be a part of grander Chinese strategy to encircle India and redraw the map of Asia? So stay with me, because what we are uncovering today is not just about a runway, it is about the future of South Asia geopolitics. That is the fragile thread that ties India's northeast to the mainland region, and a race for the influence that is intensifying by the day. So what is happening exactly? So here is the context of the news. अभी हुआ क्या है? China recently inspected a site in Bangladesh where a new air base is being planned, as you can see here. Now, this site is located in Lalmonirhat region, that is in Rangpur division, which is just 20 kilometers away from Chicken Neck area, as you can see here, which is only 20 kilometers away from the Chicken Neck area, which is also known as Siliguri Corridor and which connects the mainland India to the northeastern states. Now, the first important thing that we need to understand here is, when was this air base project announced? अब ये air base project announced कब हुआ? Lalmonirhat air base. So let me tell you that the project was unveiled in March 2025, this year only. March 2025. जी हाँ, the location is old. The location is old, that is belongs to the Second World War airfield. Now, this Lalmonirhat airfield in the northern Bangladesh region. समझ में आ रहा है? अब ये एयरफील्ड कहां पर है? ये नॉर्दर्न बांग्लादेश रीजन में है. अब थोड़ा मैं आपको हिस्ट्री बता देता हूं यहां पर सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर की. दिस Lalmonirhat airfield in northern Bangladesh was originally built and it was used during the Second World War by the Allied forces, mainly by the British Royal Air Force and by the United States Army Air Force, that is USAAF. Now, how they have used this Lalmonirhat airfield in Second World War? See, it was a part of Allied air supply network in the China-Burma-India region, that is China-Burma-India theater of the Second World War. And this Lalmonirhat airfield, it was mainly used for refueling purposes, staging the aircraft en route to China, and also supporting the logistic as well as air supply missions, especially over the Himalayas, which is known as the flying hub. Apart from this, this airfield also serving as an emergency or the support base for the transport as well as cargo craft. Now, aircraft जो इस बेस से याद रखिएगा गए है ना, so aircraft from this base they help supply Chinese forces and also समय के जो चाइना के लीडर थे that is Chiang Kai-shek's army who were fighting Japanese occupation of forces. And it was not about the combat base, but it played a critical and logistical support role here. So after the Second World War, अब इस air base का क्या हुआ? So after the Second World War, the airfield was largely abandoned, or you can say used in a very limited capacity until its recent revival planned by the Bangladesh. Now, अब सवाल ये उठता है, who is involved here? अब यहां पर involved कौन है? Bangladesh is developing this airbase and has sought help from China. तो जैसा कि इस साल मोहम्मद यूनुस ने विजिट किया था चाइना में, and Chinese officials recently they visited this Lalmonirhat airbase recently. So Mohammad Yunus, who is an advisor to the Bangladesh government, and his aides have repeatedly mentioned India's northeast region, which has raised the concerns. So India's defense forces and intelligence agencies, they are closely monitoring this project. Getting my point? Now my question here is, why is India concerned? अब ये इंडिया के लिए क्यों इतना ज्यादा कंसर्न करने की बात है? The air base is very close to the Indian territory, that is approximately 20 kilometers, and this air base could be used for the military surveillance of the Indian activities. It can also become a hub for the intelligence gathering. Possibly it can be used by China or Pakistan, which could threaten the India's internal security also. इससे इंडिया की internal security पर भी खतरा है. Why? Because this air base in Bangladesh is located very near to the Siliguri Corridor, or you can say Chicken Neck Corridor, which is a narrow strip of land that connects India's northeast to the rest of the country. And this area is strategically crucial for India. Apart from this, India's, अब इसी के साथ ही साथ अगर हम देखें, so ये जो region है, अभी मैंने आपको बताया, this region, Siliguri Corridor, West Bengal region. Now, this region is also important for India's defense purpose. Now, why this is important for India's defense purpose? So, let me tell you, India's Trisha Shakti, है ना, or you can say Trishakti. So, India का जो Trishakti Corps है, India Trishakti Corps, this. So, this India Trishakti Corps, it is headquartered near the Siliguri Corridor, and यहीं पर एक base है which is called as Hasimara Air Base, as you can see here. और Hasimara Air Base में rifles भी हैं. See this location, Hasimara Air Force Station in this West Bengal region. So India Trishakti Corps, which is headquartered near the Siliguri, and Hasimara Air Base, which houses rifle jets, is also nearby to this Lalmonirhat Air Base. So this Lalmonirhat Air Base of Bangladesh, it would be within the range of Indian artillery in case of conflict. Getting my point? So what is India doing? अब India इस पे क्या कर रहा है? तो अब इंडिया की जो डिफेंस एंड इंटेलिजेंस एजेंसीज हैं, सो इंडियन डिफेंस एंड इंटेलिजेंस एजेंसीज, दे आर वाचिंग व्हाट काइंड ऑफ एसेट्स लाइक प्लेन्स और यू कैन से रडार्स विल बी इंस्टॉल्ड. They are checking it is for civilian training or military use, and they are also intelligence agencies, they are also monitoring whether China or Pakistan will have access or not. But if you see this thing in broader context, so let me tell you that China and Bangladesh, they have been strengthening the military ties, especially after the new regime, that is Mohammad Yunus power in Dhaka. Now, apart from this, China have been supplying the weapons to Bangladesh. China is also helping Bangladesh building the military infrastructure in this region. Now, why is this sensitive for India? अब इंडिया के लिए इतना ज्यादा सेंसिटिव क्यों है? तो अगर हम इस चीज की बात करें that why this is sensitive for India, so try to understand the region, the Siliguri corridor is already tense due to the past incidents like India China standoff जो हुआ था 2017 डोकलाम, India China Doklam standoff in 2017. So this region is very sensitive, and any foreign military presence near the chicken neck is seen as a you can say serious threat. Clear? That is why this is a concern and sensitive issue for India. Now, apart from this, the proposed China, or you can say the proposed airbase in Bangladesh, that is Lalmonirhat, है ना? So the proposed Chinese assisted air base at Lalmonirhat in Bangladesh region, which is just 20 kilometers from the Indian border, and it has serious security implications for India, especially due to its location, which is near to the Siliguri Corridor, which is also known as Chicken Neck Corridor. Now, how is it going to impact India's security? So let's try to understand that how it is going to impact India's security. First impact could be threat to the Siliguri Corridor. Threat to Siliguri Corridor or Chicken Neck Corridor. Now, the Siliguri Corridor is a narrow strip that is 20 to 25 kilometer wide stretch that connects mainland India to its northeast, and any military presence or any military, or you can say surveillance base which is close to this region, it poses a direct threat to this lifeline actually. Now, in a conflict scenario, now try to understand, in a conflict scenario, even non-combat activities like radar, UAVs from Lalmonirhat, it could monitor or worse, or you can say target the troop movement in the corridor region. Okay. Apart from this, another impact could be potential Chinese military actions. Now, potential Chinese military access, how? Now, try to understand, if Bangladesh allows the Chinese personnel as well as aircraft, or you can say surveillance system at this Lalmonirhat air base, it becomes a forward observation and logistic point for the China. Now, this could allow China to track the Indian army movement in the eastern sector, and with this, they can use the base for the electronic intelligence gathering. And China can also build the pressure on India if in case like a future India-China border conflict took place, just like Doklam or you can say Galwan Valley. So they can pressure India also. Apart from this, another impact could be encirclement risk. Another impact, encirclement risk. Or you can also say string of pearls 2.0. How? This base may fit into China's larger strategy to encircle India through military or dual use of infrastructure, as you can see here like this from this region. Okay, so they can encircle India through the military or dual use of infrastructure like ports, airfields, roads in Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Maldives, and now Bangladesh. Now, this deepens the strategic squeeze and which India is facing in its eastern and maritime front. And apart from this, increased intelligence. अब इससे क्या होगा? Intelligence बढ़ जाएगी. Increased intelligence and surveillance activity, or you can say increased intelligence and surveillance vulnerability. Now, a high-tech air base which is near to the Indian borders, it could host the signal interception equipment. It can also host the long-range radars, drones, UAVs, and this can compromise the operational secrecy of Indian forces, which is based in northeastern states like north of Bengal region. Clear? Another, apart from this, Assam, Sikkim is there. Okay, so Assam, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, all these regions. So these regions will be on the radars of Chinese then. Then they can also pressurize India's northeast defenses. Ji haan, they can pressurize northeast defense. Now how they are going to pressurize the northeast defense? Now for example, as you can see here, this Hasimara Air Force Station. So the Trishakti Corps and Hasimara Air Base, which houses the Rafale jets, and it would be within the monitoring or strike range of such a base. And India, in that case, India would be forced to divert the resources to counter this new flank, which reducing the flexibility in other sectors like Arunachal Pradesh or Sikkim. Now, currently strained India-Bangladesh trust. It can also strain India-Bangladesh trust. Now how? So let me tell you, deepening the military ties between the Dhaka as well as Beijing, it erodes the India's long-standing the strategic comfort with Bangladesh. Now it may also lead to India to recalibrate the defense as well as the border policies with a country that it earlier considered relatively friendly. And after the revolution, that is last year in 2024, the country which used to be friendly for India, but now they are having trust strains, clear, or you can say trust deficit between India and Bangladesh relations. अब इससे क्या होगा? Potential future use by Pakistan also. Now, potential future use by Pakistan, how? Now, in that case, try to understand if Bangladesh also limited, or you can say if Bangladesh also allows the Pakistan to use its air base, in that case, it can create another hostile front which is close to the Indian territory. So, these impacts are very important, that these are the concern for India's internal security. Now, let me tell you, overall, the base may not be an immediate war threat, but it alters the regional imbalance also. How? It is creating a new surveillance post which is near to the most sensitive geographical choke point. Then adding Chinese strategic presence in South Asia also. It is forcing India to militarize further in the east and spend more on monitoring as well as deterrence. So, the air base at Lalmonirhat is more than a concrete steel. Let me tell you, it is a symbol of shifting loyalties, rising ambitions, as well as the geopolitical chessboard that is China is laying across the South Asia region. So for India, it is not just about a neighbor building an airstrip. It is about protecting a corridor that connects the millions of citizens, fuel national integration, and ensure the unity of a diverse republic. So in this unfolding drama of diplomacy and deterrence, the real background is not just the land. It is the trust between the nation, the choices which are made in secret meetings, and the silence that speaks volumes. So as viewers from around the world, remember, geography is not destiny, but when it meets strategy, it can shape the future of entire nations. So if this story moved you, share it, comment your views, and subscribe this channel Legacy IAS Academy, because this is just the beginning and the world is changing, and it is the time we start watching where the next runway leads. Thank you so much.